Hello everyone, my name is DecklanKands from DecklanKandzGaming, and let's jump right into it. I've been thinking a lot recently, and I have some ideas that I think we should add to the Pokémon series. Not as one-off gimmicks, but as staples of the series to help it progress further, like Fire Emblem and the Legend of Zelda series have managed to do. So let's talk about Pokémon. The world, the games, the culture, they're all about coming together. There's even a commercial about it. I'm looking at you, Pokémon Unite. And so, my first idea is all about multiplayer. One of my favorite memories in Pokémon is going to the bottom of Cerulean Cave for the first time and seeing Mewtwo standing there and being like, oh hey, it's the guy from the gym statues, and then being very confused when fighting him and his sprite looked nothing like the gym statues. Side note, I actually could never tell where Fearo's head was in the original red and blue sprite. I thought his wing was his head and it was a whole thing. Anyway. I think Pokémon should add what we're going to call dungeons into the games. And now let me explain. Since we've already been talking about Cerulean Cave, let's keep going with that specific instance. In another remake of Kanto, you would be able to enter Cerulean Cave solo. It would be like the one you previously entered in the same game with the same layout, probably with a few updated puzzles. But you would also have the ability to queue or invite friends and enter the cave with a group of about 2 to 4 players. The dungeon would be modified to be longer and have more puzzles that require multiple people in this case. The dungeon would also introduce a mechanic similar to HMs. For this instance, we'll call them overworld moves, but I'm sure they could come up with a catchier name for that. Each type of Pokemon would have its own overworld move that would allow you to solve puzzles, and it would be stuff like water Pokemon would have the ability to surf. That's right, all water Pokemon, even if they don't know the move surf, would be able to surf, which is something I've always found silly in Pokemon games when they have the ability to swim in water, but they can't swim in water. And yes, I know there's the whole thing about being trained in surfing with someone on your back, but I think in this case, and with how frequently it's used, most water Pokemon should be able to surf, and for mechanics' sakes, we can just say that all water Pokemon can surf. Normal Pokemon could have Strength, and fighting Pokemon could have Rock Smash. But there would also be some new ones like Overworld Vine Whip and Overworld String Shot, which would allow Grass and Bug-type Pokemon to traverse canyons and climb cliffs, Overworld Teleport for Psychic Pokemon, and so on. I have a whole list of them, so comment below if you'd like to hear more in depth about overworld moves, but that's not going to be the main focus of this video. Picture you're entering the Cerulean Cave. You get to choose one active Pokemon at a time that will follow you like the previous expansions or previous Pokemon games, and you choose your Venusaur because you're a Bulba lover and you want to show off your shiny Venusaur that you reset 1,079 times for. Your Venusaur is a grass poison type, which means naturally it would have access to the moves Overworld Vine Whip and Overworld Smog. However, you can only keep one of those overworld moves active at a time. Everyone else brought Raticate for that sweet dark type crunch attack to use against Mewtwo, which means they all have strength. The first obstacle you arrive at is a cliff face that leads straight up. To progress, you have to ask your Venusaur to use Overworld Vine Whip, which leaves the rope in a place so that all 4 players can progress. Then you return it to your Pokeball once it's done. As you delve further into the cave and keep getting attacked by Golbats every 9 seconds, you activate your Overworld Smog to reduce the encounter rate for all your teammates. I should mention, in this version of a dungeon that I'm picturing, all the players will have individual encounters, and so your progress may be impeded by another player who's constantly getting into battles. It may be helpful or beneficial for you to use Overworld Smog or Sandstorm to help reduce that encounter rate for all your teammates. Your next challenge is a body of water, and while Billy has his Lapras and can use Overworld Surf, the rest of you are kind of stuck. So instead, Billy uses Overworld Blizzard with his Lapras to freeze this section of water. This creates a new path that you can go down, however, some sections are still liquid, and you'll have to take the alternate, perhaps less direct group path. Finally, you arrive at the end of the cave, and there, Mewtwo stares you down. And ready for the fight of your life, you pull out your Gengar, the only Pokemon you have that can deal serious damage to a Psychic type. What can you say, you like poison types. And now, this battle with Mewtwo leads me to my next point, which is phase battles. In my mind, phase battles would have an average of 3 phases, which can vary depending on the situation. In this example, all 4 players would fight Mewtwo at once. He would have increased hit points and get multiple turns, like in raid battles we have currently in Sword and Shield. He would have 4 moves, for example we'll say Psychic, Flamethrower, Recover, and Barrier, and the first fight would start with a short cinematic. It would show each player throwing out their Pokemon, and Mewtwo's eyes would glow as he raises some rocks and smashes them together to intimidate the trainers. In my mind, phase battles would have an average of 3 phases, which can vary depending on the situation. In this example, all 4 players would fight Mewtwo at one time. He would have increased hit points and multiple moves like raid battles that we currently have in Sword and Shield. The battle will begin like current raid battles until his hit points get either extremely low or to 0. Then the menus will fade away as it seamlessly enters into a short cinematic of Mewtwo wincing in pain and then thrusting the players away with an energy wave. As they see the wave coming, they recall their Pokemon, but then get knocked off a small cliff. As they begin to tumble down, it fades to black. Then we fade back in, with the trainers getting back up and readying their Pokeballs as Mewtwo flies back down to meet them. He sounds his little Pokemon cry, and then ready for phase 2, the players throw out their Pokemon again. The second phase is similar to the first, but keep in mind that Mewtwo is more desperate, so he gets a 3rd attack per turn. The players whittle him down again to near fainted or fainted status, and again the menus fade out and we enter a small cinematic. Mewtwo winces in pain, and when he realizes he's outmatched, blows a hole in the wall behind him and flies further into the cave. The players return their Pokemon and chase after him. We fade out. We fade back into Mewtwo running out of cave. He finds himself at a large wall. He turns and he's tired, worn out, and he decides to make his last stand against these 10-year-old children. The players run up and throw out their Pokeballs, and this is the 3rd and final phase. Mewtwo returns to full health once more, and now he has 4 attacks per turn, and he maintains all 8 moves he's used throughout the other 2 phases of the fight. Truly, this is the Mewtwo we've come to know and fear. One more massive showdown, and each player then gets a chance to catch Mewtwo. On their screen, it will look like the group congratulating them if they catch him, or a group cheer if they don't catch him and they just defeat him. But each player will get a chance. Now the Mewtwo they catch will only have 4 moves, but for defeating such a powerful creature, it will have at least 4 perfect IVs and a special ribbon. These dungeons would cause the players to work together, not only in battles, but to solve puzzles and defeat a powerful enemy. It gives a sense of accomplishment instead of just handing the Pokemon to them in an event. And this is just one example. The possibilities are huge, and more can be added even after the game's launch. For events or holidays, dungeons could be a multiplayer staple of the Pokemon universe, bringing champions together and letting players use their Pokemon in a more interactive way than just battling, using your Pokemon's abilities to solve puzzles and dungeon crawl without locking them in as an HM slave. That's all the time I'll use today, but I have more ideas and I'd like to discuss them in other videos. Let me know what you think of this one, and if you want to hear more about dungeons, phase battles, or some more of my ideas. Leave a comment on things you'd like to see added to the Pokemon franchise. I'm DecklanKandzGaming, and thank you so much, Brazcoin, for this opportunity to share my ideas on your channel. If you haven't seen some more of his videos, I would check out one of the suggested videos down below, and thank you so much for watching.